Hi, everybody. I'm Julie Dederer, and I was one of the founders of the Foundation for Climate Restoration. So thrilled you're all here today. Working with Gordon has been amazing to generate this masterclass and looking at what's the outcome we want out of it. And the outcome that we've come up with, I'm going to read it a couple of times because it's a mouthful. Each and every one of us gets present to our power in causing an idea's time to come, and experiences ourselves as vital agents in causing, within this decade, the global commitment to climate restoration. I got it reading through it, but I'm going to create it one more time. Our intention for the outcome of this call is that each and every one of us gets present to our power in causing an idea's time to come, and experiences ourselves as vital agents in causing, within this decade, the global commitment to climate restoration. Okay, back to you, Mark.
Okay, great. Terrific. So I want to share with you now the mission and vision of the Foundation for Climate Restoration. We have a great graphic for this. And I'm going to, and by the way, I want to welcome Jan Solomon to our call. So our vision is the climate restored by 2050. And our mission is to generate the global alignment for climate restoration by 2030, such that climate restoration shows up on the global agenda. And by climate restoration, we mean restoring the climate to one humans have evolved and thrived in, with CO2 levels below 300 parts per million. I think you can take that slide down now, Bob. Julia, do you want to introduce our guest now?
Yes, I do. It's funny to introduce someone that many of us have known for 40 plus years, but some of you have not met Gordon before. He's worked with visionary leaders producing breakthrough results, translating their visions into reality. Some of us know him for his deep work with the Hunger Project and with Pachamama Alliance. And one of the things that I loved in our work together is he said to me that one of his three main passions at this point in his life is ending the climate crisis, leaving us with an environment that's thriving for millennia to come. So thank you so much for accepting our invitation to do this masterclass. And over to you, Gordon.
Okay, thank you very much. I all the people I know, on one hand, it makes me a little more nervous. On the other hand, it makes me feel right at home. Thank you all so much for coming. This has been so great for me just preparing it. So I'd like to start out. There are about 50 of us here on the call right now. We're going to do something called the Tower of Babel. And I'm going to have Julia, if you would count 20 seconds when I say start, but I haven't said start yet.
Okay.
So everybody has to come off mute. So the first thing is come off mute, and then I'll tell you how to do the Tower of Babel. Are you off mute? Okay.
Yes.
So I have the following question. What is it? What's your why? Why are you here on this call? You invested the time and you're here. Maybe you think you should be here. Maybe your spouse told you to be here, or maybe it's actually something beyond that. So you have 20 seconds to say, in however you want to say it, how come you're here And everybody has to talk for 20 seconds because it's really embarrassing if everybody stops and then one person is talking, right? Okay, I'm going to count down to
Gordon, I'll hold my hand up so you look at me when it's 20 seconds.
Yeah. So I'm going to count down from 3, and then you start talking. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm here because I want to know how to share humanity survives. Really interests me. Hi, Lori.
friends and have some people motivate each other. That's everything that's important to me.
That's really great to see everybody.
Okay, that's it. Stop.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. Stop. Okay, I want to hear from 3 people. And I'm not going to, don't raise your electronic, excuse me, Julie, don't raise your electronic hand. Just speak out. 3 people. How come you're here today?
I'm here because I know Gordon Starr and whatever he's going to say is great. And the topic intrigues me.
And I am here because I think that climate warming is the worst disaster that human beings have ever faced and the greatest danger. And that climate restoration is the only possibility for us to have a humanity that we want.
I love the game.
I'm here because I choose to have my life be about the fulfillment of climate restoration and the ending of the climate crisis and for the future of our kids and grandchildren.
Fabulous.
I'm here as a fan of the end of climate ruination. A fan.
Terrific. Okay, one more person.
I'm here because I know it's an idea whose time has come and I don't know how to do it.
Fabulous. Okay, great. So for this whole hour that we're going to be together, I'd like you to keep how come you're here as a context for our conversation. And at the end of our conversation, my invitation to you is to come up with, take on a new conversation that you haven't had before, or a new action that you haven't done before, that will, as you will see, help accelerate ending the climate crisis, restoring our climate to be an idea whose time has come. So I want to start off with this whole idea about an idea whose time has come. It was first articulated by Victor Hugo in 1851. And he said it in French, but since I can't say the French, I'll say our interpretation. It was very simple. Nothing is as powerful as a time which has come. Nothing is powerful as a times who has come. An idea whose time has come. Nothing is powerful as an idea whose time has come. Now, he was speaking about it because this was the transition from Napoleon with the suppression and the armies to France being a democracy. So taking just that idea, if you were to look here today in recent history, can you see something that sort of fits that? It's an idea whose time came, and it totally changed things. Some examples, if you have. This is wide open. Just speak out, please.
Man to the moon, Kennedy.
Since Ted Turner passed away, CNN 24-hour news.
Ending hunger, Werner Erhard.
Chicago River restored.
Yes.
The internet.
Yes.
Okay.
Transparency.
Yes.
Cell phones.
Yes.
Women voting.
Yes.
Say that last one again, please.
Women voting.
Yeah, exactly. Women voting.
Being
That I'm going to take that last one because it was a cultural shift, a shift in reality. And if you're in California or if you're in the United States, but I have some numbers for California, back in 1970s, what about smoking?
Mm-hmm.
Smoking was cool. I smoked. It's embarrassing for me even to tell you that I smoked today, but back then I smoked. And here are some statistics. In 1970, when smoking was cool, you have no idea how many packets of cigarettes were sold. But I'm going to tell you, 2.45 billion cigarette packs were sold in the state of California in 1970. In 2025, today it's not cool, right? Only 375 million packs of cigarettes were sold. So that's a shift from 2.45 billion to 375 million, a 92% drop. So you get the idea. It's from 123, the other statistic, 123 packs per California person to only 9.5 packs per California person per year. And that's an amazing shift. And it gives, now, how did the idea come about that smoking isn't cool? So I want to, rather than have you respond to that, I want to talk about, the Moscow Marathon, which is a direct experience that I've had, one of the most powerful ideas whose time came. And I think there are several people, I know there are several people here who participated in the Moscow Marathon, which is really cool. So the Moscow Marathon started, I'll tell a little bit of the story. The story is great, but don't listen to the story. Listen from the question, how did this idea's time come? What's the source of it? And how does that relate to what we're up to today with respect to the climate? So it all started with a conversation I had with a friend of mine in December of 1984. His name is Jeff Rowe. Some of you know him. I can remember sitting down in front of the fireplace, and the year before, some people had gone and ran in the Moscow Marathon for Peace, and we talked about that. I said, let's start this project. I think I'm going to start this project. So I talked to some people. I talked to Joan Bordeaux right at the very beginning. We went to our first marathon and we took on, okay, this is, by the way, you talk about not cool to cool. In 1985, the Soviet Union was what? It was the evil empire. Now, many of you may be too young to know that, but a whole lot of you know it was the evil empire, right? So we went over, we ran in the International Marathon for Peace. I don't know, maybe there was a dozen of us in 1985. In 1986 was the Goodwill Games in Moscow. And, we found out that the marathon was open to hack runners like us. And in partnership with Joan, I don't know, we had maybe 20 people total, 10 women, 10 men. And in honor of our friend who just died, who all of a sudden I gone blank. What's his name? CNN?
Ted Turner?
Ted
Yeah.
Turner.
Ted Turner. In honor of Ted Turner, he invented the Goodwill Games. And I met him at about midnight at a bar. There was a bunch of us having a drink, and over there was Ted Turner. And I got up and I went over and I said, hi, Ted. I'm part of the group that got in on the marathon, the only non-class. And he said, oh, yeah, I heard about you. You're the do-gooders. So we became known as the do-gooders. And then we went the next day, and then we went the next. In 1989, I think, Joan, my number is correct. All of a sudden, we had 250 runners running in the Moscow International Marathon for Peace. Am I correct with that number, Joan? Bordeaux?
You are.
Yeah. How did all that come about? It was sort of like, there was this tidal wave, and we were riding the tidal wave. And we raised, and then then in 1989, the Berlin Wall came down. In November, the Berlin Wall came down. And in 1990, what was thought was totally impossible, hack Soviet runners came to the United States to run in the second Goodwill Games in Seattle. And there were 10 kids who came over, or 12 kids who came over and rode their bikes from Washington, D.C. to Seattle as part of 100 kids. This is unthinkable. And then in 1991, Boris Yeltsin was on top of a tank in Red Square. Nothing ever happened. And the Soviet Empire came down, touted as the largest bloodless revolution in the history of mankind.
Wow.
So, tsunami, avalanche, unstoppable momentum. And the question, that's really cool, but how can we cause an idea as time has come? So I started looking at it and looked at the reality of beginning and end. So at the beginning, there was a reality. In 1984, Gorbachev came into power. And at the end of 1984, he started talking about three words: glasnost, perestroika, and democratization. Democracy, glasnost is open communication, perestroika, an economy, a competitive economy. And they were all in the dictionary. But how people reacted then was, first of all, it's not even desirable. We have a communist country. That's not part of what we're up. If it was desirable, it's not possible because, all the big people are and the politicians are so entrenched. And even if it was possible, I can't make a difference. Who am I to make anything happen, right? So that is a reality that has a future look exactly like the past. Flip to the Berlin Wall coming down, Boris Yeltsin in 1991, the largest bloodless revolution. Oh, it's desirable, those three words. And it's possible. And I can make a difference. There's Boris Yeltsin. He was a contractor. He became the mayor of Moscow, unheard of before. So that's an example of the impossible happening. And I'm going to check my notes to make sure I got everything that I really wanted to say there. Oh, here's the other thing that I started looking at. That little story about us in the Moscow Marathon, we didn't make that happen. But everything that we communicated, and we were on Soviet TV, and we were on the front page of Pravda. I consider it like a hologram. If you know a hologram, it has little frames in it, and in the center is a three-dimensional figure, a three-dimensional image. Every one of those little frames is the whole. And we were a couple of those little frames. And the more frames with the whole, the brighter and the picture, the greater the hologram. And how did that come to be? And one of the things I realized, everything that we did helped build another piece of that hologram. We weren't George Bush. We weren't Mikhail Gorbachev. We weren't, that type of person, but we helped build that hologram through the things that we did. So I want to take a look at, we're going to screen share now where we are today. And the question I want to ask you is, what do you think? You know, I said the reality in the Soviet Union back at the beginning in 1985, when we started, was glasnost, perestroika, democratization. It's not desirable, it's not possible, and I can't make a difference. What do you think today that reality, or go back a little bit, because certainly we've made progress, that reality is for climate restoration? And I'm going to share. And can everybody see that? Did I do that right?
Yep.
Okay. So we're talking about the beginning reality. Somebody pop out a couple of things. Go back to 1970.
It's
When the first
cyclical.
conversations first started coming out, we're in trouble here, right?
It's cyclical. It'll reverse and go down on its own.
Right. What else? Absolutely what you just said.
Too complicated to do anything about.
Okay, great. What else?
Climate destruction is inevitable. Climate destruction is inevitable.
It's inevitable, right? Go ahead.
Restoration is unknown. It's not a known it's not a known approach or mindset.
Yeah, great.
I don't have time, and someone else will do it anyway.
Absolutely. And by the way, we've always adapted, right? So this is what I wrote. It's not true, but I'm doing this for the demonstration. So reality number one, it's not needed. Climate restoration isn't needed. It's going to adjust back. By the way, if it was needed, it's not even possible. Look at all the investment in oil and coal and the politics involved. It won't be possible to do anything. And for sure, I can't make a difference. Yeah. And then we go over here and we have a new one. It's essential, imperative. It is possible, and I can make a difference. That's when it has reached the point of no return. It's unstoppable. It hasn't I say it has not reached there yet. And I say that for a couple of reasons. I mean, and I'll show that in a minute. But to get from one to the other, how do we do that? That's the question for the day. And I'm opening it up for you for whatever you see. How do you shift a global paradigm like that?
Great conversations.
Yeah, so I want to pause there for a second. So as that's the tool, only tool we really have is language. And I'm talking about all sorts of language. Action speaks louder than words. That's language. The tone of your voice, that's language. And you're speaking and you're listening. That's all language. So language is solely our tool. So what kind of language?
Inclusive.
Okay, great.
Declarative. Declarative.
And
Encouraging.
say you said declarative. Just say one more. Say a little bit about what you mean by that.
It's a committed type of language in which you declare something is going to happen and you stand by that, you stand for it, and you create by saying it.
Fabulous. Next.
Inquisitive.
Okay, great. Great. Inquisitive, inquiring. I would add to that. Go ahead.
What can I do now?
Yeah, great question. What can I do now? Interesting, really interesting. Somebody else.
Conversation for possibility.
Yeah. And it's really a stand for possibility. You put possibility and stand together, declaration. How come it's possible? How come it's possible? Well, you may need a lot of evidence, but it's really possible because you say it's possible. You know, somebody mentioned the iPhone in terms of an idea whose time has come. Well, at the beginnings, a whole lot of people said this wasn't possible. Yeah. So it starts with the declaration that it is possible and listening to the people that say it isn't possible and really getting inside their world. That's a vital access to this shift because what keeps it in the left side are all the people that say, hey, it's not really needed. It's going to take care of itself. You know, we can adapt. Coal and oil, that's big business. We need that business. So it's not positional, it's listening, getting inside that world and opening possibilities. Okay, so it's building agreement for the new reality. Stands or declarations. It's so because you say so, you're committed to it. Assertions, facts. Facts shift reality. And I'll show you some facts in a second. And actions. Actions speak louder than words. I'll tell you a very simple thing that happened this morning. It's so small, and it has both to do with conversation and action. You know, I got my coffee, and they have these, cardboard things you carry the coffee out unless you don't need it. And I said to the guy, he says, do you need one of the cartons? I said, yeah, unfortunately I do because I can't carry everything. I said, I hate to take it, but I do need it. And he looked at me and said, you know what you could do? He said, you could bring your carton back tomorrow. And I said, wow, that's a brilliant idea. A little tiny idea like that. I hadn't thought about that. And it saves, using all that cardboard that's a total waste. Now, it seems like a teeny tiny thing, but it feeds the conversation. It's part of this hologram. It builds agreement to the right side. So a couple of, here's some facts to give you an idea of assertions, what's so, shifting reality. And they're I'm going to have Julia read them and read each one and pause. Notice the reality. What does it say to you? What happens to your view of this whole thing, given this fact? Please go ahead.
Greenhouse gas emissions are still rising.
Isn't that interesting? They are still rising. They rose like 2% last year. Go ahead.
Demand for electricity will double by 2050. Largest increase in history.
Uh-oh. Next.
In 2025, electricity produced by renewables exceeded that produced by coal, 33.8% versus 33.0% for the first time in history.
Wow. Momentum. Next.
Investment in clean energy of $2.2 trillion was twice that in oil and gas.
Okay, that's pretty amazing. So stuff is happening, right? It sort of gives you that reality. And then, give me the last one.
The Trump administration using nearly $2 billion in federal payments to induce companies to abandon U.S. offshore wind projects.
And that's just this year. So, that's headed the other way. So we can't rest on our laurels, right? Okay, next slide. Oh, I have to do the next slide. You can't do the next slide. So what conversations, excuse me, go ahead and read that, Julie.
Whose conversation shifts global reality? Yours. It is essential. It is possible. Momentum is building. Join us in accelerating it. Act personal. EVs, conserve, recycle, and so forth.
So every little thing that you do makes a difference, just like that cardboard thing this morning. Go ahead.
Speak with and engage your schools, politicians, faith communities, HOA communities.
Pause right there. My friend Mark Sullivan, whom some of you know, he organized has a big HOA in Florida, and they have taken on having their whole area be pristine with with wildlife flourishing, animals flourishing, vegetation flourishing. They have now 300 people, and they are progressives, conservatives, doesn't matter. They are now operating in concert and raising money to make sure that their community is like that. Go ahead.
Universities, employer, nonprofits, clubs, alumni groups, boards. And the sentence below, what conversations will you have? What new actions will you take? When?
So this is the most important part of the whole day, right? What conversation, we're going to go now, break you into groups of 3. You may be in a group of 2. You'll have, excuse me, you'll have a total of 9 minutes. You'll have a 1-minute warning. So at 8 minutes, you'll get a warning for 1 minute. And what this is now challenging you and your leadership. What conversations will you have? New conversations. Many of you have conversations now. Are there some new ones? Can you add some urgency to some of that you're already having? What new actions? Maybe you didn't see to take an action that now you can see to take. Will you take? And when will you do it?